Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Today is day two in our workshop series for TezAsia Hackathon. Like we promised, the journey throughout the hackathon is going to be more comprehensive. I'm sure the workshop so far had given you a sense of confidence in working on Tezos. Building on the previous content, the topic for today's workshop is Introduction to Tezos. For all those who want to learn the nuances of the protocol, I think this is the opportunity. We have got highly skilled instructors from Nomadic Labs. For all those who aren't aware, Nomadic Labs is one of the largest R&D centers within the Tezos ecosystem. Based in Paris, it has more than 50 engineering researchers working on the development and evolution of Tezos protocol. It's indeed an honor to have experts from NL team deliver the content for today's workshop. May I present to you all Mr. Daniel Jean and Charles Delhanger. Daniel is a blockchain engineer at Nomadic Labs since 1 year and hosts Tezos Baker at www.baking.finance. Before he was a professional judo player in the French judo team, he entered the blockchain ecosystem 3 years ago and fell in love with this amazing technology. Charles is an engineer in the support team at NL in Paris. Welcome, Daniel and Charles. Looking forward to having a wonderful session with you.
Hi everyone. Hi Charles. I'm happy to be with you today.
Hi Daniel.
Today we are going to give you a quick introduction to the Tezos blockchain. We will talk about the Tezos history, the main characteristics and the core principles, and we will finish by presenting some of the core applications that are available currently on Tezos. So I let the floor to Charles to start the presentation. So I share my screen. Wait a minute. Okay, so now I shared my screen.
Okay, so in this section, we will talk about the Tezos blockchain, its history and its specification compared to other blockchains. We will introduce you to the history of Tezos. First of all, you can see the Tezos project start in 2015 with a publication of L.M. Goodman. The mainnet start in July 2018, and it's the actual Tezos network. And the first voted amendment was Athens in May 2019. The actual amendment is Grenada, who is live since Friday, last Friday. We will now see how Tezos works and how it differs from the other blockchains. Tezos is a public and self-amending blockchain with a public liquid proof-of-stake protocol. Public blockchain signifies that anyone can interact with Tezos and no central control is applied. The liquid proof-of-stake protocol is a protocol where participation is proportional to the number of tokens owned rather than the computing power, like in proof of work. This allows stable earnings and a low carbon footprint. The self-amending protocol is very important because anyone can submit a new protocol to the community for a vote. This allows for better adaptability and reduce the risk of hard forks, because the majority of the community must agree to make any change. The simplification of the application of formal method is very important too, and all Tezos is built to simplify formal methods. Now I will summarize the current and ongoing features of Tezos. Like we have previously seen, the slide sum up all the actual features of Tezos. The liquid proof of stake, the security of the smart contract. There is more than 6 different languages. The decentralized governance and the self-amending and auto updates. Granada arrived last Friday, and he reduced the block time from 1 minute to 30 seconds. Sorry. Tenderbake is the next update of the protocol we are currently working on, and it will improve the consensus speed to 1,000 transactions by second. And another project we are working on is a layer 2, like the ZK channels of Bolt Labs. Will permit to do layer 2. Now, the strong decentralization of Tezos give it a large community spread out in a large ecosystem. Many actors are involved in the development and in its development and longevity. In this slide, you can see 18 of the teams working on Tezos distributed in 5 continents. Let's introduce you Nomadic Labs, where we are, Daniel and me. Daniel is a company based in Paris, currently employing more than 60 employees, including some 40 PhD students. I let the speak to Daniel.
Okay.
We present applications.
Thank you, Charles. And can you hear me, Charles? Yeah.
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a quick overview of what is currently available on the Tezos blockchain and what are the core underlying features and the concepts. So first of all, baking. Baking can be considered as the first native application on the Tezos blockchain. We can say that baking is the process of validating and adding new blocks into the Tezos blockchain. Bakers are key participants in the liquid proof of stake consensus algorithm, since they are responsible for the transaction verifications and their broadcasting to the entire network. Bakers are creators of the blocks because bakers receive operations in a mempool. We can see a mempool as a data structure which contains all pending transactions and operations from users. Bakers validate them, build blocks, add them to the blocks, and through the node they are connected to, they communicate the blocks to their peers, the nodes. Bakers participate in the on-chain governance. The on-chain governance is a core principle of the Tezos blockchain, which allows it to evolve in time. So, for example, if a user or a developer wants to add a new feature, a new characteristic to the blockchain, he can submit a proposal, and this proposal is voted by the entire community, the entire Tezos community. So becoming a baker requires a minimum hardware, as you may think. There is a minimum number of native tokens, native XTZ that a baker has to own to become eligible to be a baker, it is 8,000 XTZ. These 8,000 XTZs are associated with a voting power. This voting power can be expressed when new features are proposed by users and developers through proposals. And for doing their job of securing the blockchains, bakers are rewarded in new, freshly minted Tez for securing the network. I mean, each time a baker create blocks, bake blocks, and endorse blocks, they receive new, freshly minted XTZ for their work. So how does baking work? Um, bakers are also called delegates, are chosen randomly depending on the amount of rolls they own. For example, one roll equals 8,000 XTZ. The delegate or baker infrastructure is composed of three daemons. So you have the baker daemons, which helps delegates to create blocks. You have the endorser daemon who approves created blocks. So currently with the Grenada Amendment, you have 256 slots of endorsements per block. And you also have the accuser, which allows to monitor the network. For example, it monitors if a baker tries to double bake or double endorse blocks. What is double baking or double endorsing? It is when a baker wants to create the same block at the same height of the chain and at the same time twice. So to prevent it, we have the accuser, which is running on each delegate's setup to prevent this action, this bad action. Sorry. Within the network, each cycle, given that one cycle equals 8,192 blocks, new endorsing and baking slots are assigned to the delegates. There is also a mechanism of active and inactive delegates. I mean, when a delegate fails to bake or endorse blocks during more than 5 cycles, it is considered as inactive for the network. So it doesn't delay the chain anymore. You have also characteristic called the delegator. A delegator is just an XTZ token holder who decides to sign a transaction on the blockchain to say, okay, I have this amount of XTZ and I allow these delegates to participate into the Tezos blockchain by creating blocks and voting for the amendments on my behalf. So what about delegation? As I said before, any XTZ token holder can delegate his rights to vote for the network to a delegate, and these delegates, thank his delegators, gives rewards to its delegators. So the selected baker creates, we can also say bakes, the block and earn a reward of 20 Tez along with transaction fees contained in the block. Up to 256 bakers endorse the blocks. Each endorsing slots earns 0.078 Tez. At the end of each cycles, bakers reward their delegators for delegating their coins, and a delegator, so a Tezos token holder, at any time can change delegates to receive higher rewards. I mean, if I am a token holder and I delegate to a baker who charges 15% fees, I will receive lower rewards than if I delegate to a baker who charges a 5% fees. So how can I delegate my XTZs? At low-level command line, you can use the Tezos client with the command Tezos client set delegate for your account to the delegate address, TZ address. And you can also use well-known wallets, for example, Kukai Wallet or Temple Wallet, which have implemented this functionality within their application. So now let's talk about DeFi. DeFi is a new type of financial applications which is more open, borderless. Anyone can participate and make his money work. It requires smart contracts to create digital applications. So DeFi is open and it represents a global financial system. So what are the core principles of DeFi? DeFi relies on these features: token standards, decentralized exchanges, stablecoins, wrapped assets, synthetics, and lending and flash loans. So token standard. A token standard, you need to know first that token standard and smart contracts are the basis of DeFi. A token standard is an interface and a set of rules that a smart contract must respect to be compatible with a common standard. Typically, token standard define how tokens can be transferred and how to keep a consistent record of those transfers on the Tezos network. On the Tezos blockchain, you have three kinds of token standards. First one, you have the FA1. Second one, you have the FA1.2, which allows you to create fungible assets. And more recently, a TZIP 12 have been released to give you the FA2 token standard to represent both fungible and non-fungible assets. Okay, so now let's talk about DEXs, decentralized exchanges. Before blockchain and decentralized finance, if people wanted to exchange assets, they had to rely on something called an order book model. With the DeFi, we have no more need for order book model. You don't need significant liquidity to perform exchanges. So now liquidity pools allow various exchanges between two or more assets. We have the concept of liquidity providers. There are people who bring liquidity into a liquidity pool. The first liquidity provider usually sets the price of the pair, and the price continuously derives depending on the liquidity and the swaps that occurs within the pool. Liquidity pools also relies on arbitrageurs, which keep the price accurate with centralized exchanges. I mean, if a price discrepancy appears between centralized exchanges and a decentralized exchange within the liquidity pool, arbitrageurs takes profits of this difference to earn money, and by doing so, he equilibrates the price between the liquidity pool and the price on the centralized exchanges. So liquidity providers come to put their token into the mempool and earn daily exchange fees. However, DeFi and decentralized exchanges users need to be careful about impermanent loss. In short, impermanent loss is the difference between holding two assets and putting these two assets into a liquidity pool. So sometimes it's better to hold it than providing it into a liquidity pool. It's a kind of risk you have when you provide liquidity to a liquidity pool, if we're talking about hacks or things like that. One of the major decentralized exchange on the Tezos blockchain is called KipuSwap. He has been released in 2021, and among the main features, you can exchange token and XTZ. You can exchange token to token. You can add new token pairs. When you provide liquidity, you can vote for a delegate. I mean, each liquidity pool is a smart contract. And given it is a smart contract, it can contain XTZ, and this XTZ can be delegated to a baker. So the baker rewards the pool for delegating the XTZ which are contained into the smart contracts. Okay, so now let's talk about NFT marketplaces. NFT marketplaces are non-fungible tokens marketplaces when people can exchange, for example, art pieces. We have seen a great interest for these marketplaces now. On these places, you can, for example, buy or sell and collect artworks. It is promptly expanding on the Tezos network, and many marketplaces are emerging monthly. So on the marketplaces, you can mint, you can burn, and you can exchange non-fungible tokens. You can even get your own collections of NFTs. As you can see on the picture, we have three of the major NFT marketplaces on Tezos. We have Calamint, we have Iketnunk, and we have Objects.com. More than 200,000 art pieces have been released on Iketnunk so far. Objects.com is a future independent marketplace, but now it allows people to gather artworks in one place. So you can, for example, mint art pieces on Calamint and Iketnunk, but see your collection on objects.com. Sorry. Okay, to finish the presentation of the applications, I will talk about decentralized identity. Sorry, decentralized identity is a trust framework in which so-called identifiers such as usernames can be replaced with IDs that are self-owned. But they are also independent, and they enable data exchange using blockchain and distributed ledger technology, and they help to protect privacy and secure interaction. As our lives are increasingly linked to apps, devices, and services, we are often subject to data breaches and privacy loss. So a standard-based decentralized identity system can provide greater privacy and control over, for example, my own data. One of the applications implementing decentralized identity deployed on the Tezos blockchain by Spruce Systems is called Tezos Profile. It's a web application to allow associate public online identity, for example, from social media, a Twitter account, an Instagram account, or a Facebook account, and a Tezos address. It helps regain control on social identity. It can be, for example, helpful for artists. Imagine I'm an artist and I have an official Twitter account. I can link it through Tezos profiles to my Tezos address. So when I mint, for example, an art pieces on Iketnunk, everyone can see that it is my official TZ address, which has minted a specific art piece. Users with Tezos profile build their profiles with available credentials on Tezos and deploy profiles on the network. Now it is possible to have, for example, credentials for basic informations, your name, date of birth, to have credentials for Twitter, for Discord, and even to link a Tezos and an Ethereum address. Okay, so that's it for the presentation of the applications. Thank you for your listening, and I hope it has been interested. And if you have any questions, we are here to answer.
Thank you, Daniel and Charles, for taking up the wonderful session on Introduction to Tezos. So now we'll keep the session open for a quick Q&A from the audience, and after that we can wind up the session. So, guys, please feel free to raise your questions. We will have it answered. So, we will wait for a minute from the audience. If they have any questions, then we can wind up the session. If not,
I mean, everything was clear. There is no question.
I hope it's that.
I think it was clear. Okay, so we don't have any questions from the audience. We can end the session. Once again, thank you, Daniel and Charles, for taking up the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you for.
Have a nice day.
Have a
You
nice
too.
day.